Good afternoon, everyone. We are thrilled to have you join us for today's webinar, where we will be delving into the exciting world of our ColorWorks digital print program. Before we get started, let's cover a few housekeeping details. All participants today are currently muted and video feeds from the attendee cameras are turned off. We also encourage interaction. We love to get feedback from people that are attending the webinar. So feel free to pose your questions in the Q&A box down below at the bottom of your screen, and we will do our best to address your questions as they come in. As an added incentive, if you will stay until the end of the webinar, you will have a chance to win one of 3 ColorWorks palettes and a base cloth sample deck that we will be printing the color palette on a comb cotton sateen. And these gifts will be awarded to the first 3 attendees that can answer a very difficult and challenging trivia question. So I hope you're prepared and you're a Jeopardy fan. So it is my guarantee by the end of today's webinar, you will have all the knowledge that you will need to kickstart your first ColorWorks project and seamlessly integrate this program into your design business. So without further ado, let me introduce our speakers today. We have Mark Knight, our Director of Design, and we have Wendy Rowe, our Surface Design Manager. So let's get ready for an informative and engaging session. Mark, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Heath. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our ColorWorks webinar. We know that you all have pressing schedules, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. I'm going to give you a 40,000-foot overview of the ColorWorks program, and then we will open the floor for any specific questions you may have that maybe we haven't answered for you. Since launching our ColorWorks print program, some preconceived myths about the program have been developed, and I hope maybe I can dispel some of those for you today. The first myth is that the program is just too hard to use. The ColorWorks program is actually quite intuitive to navigate. You can order any of the patterns and colors in our design library just as you would any other print in our line. You may change the base fabric with a mouse click. You may upload your own pattern and color right to our website. And if you need help, Wendy is available to assist you with any of your needs every day of the week. Myth number 2 is that it takes too long. It must. It's a custom print, so it must just take too long. In fact, we print strike-offs and production yardage weekly. Normally, your order will be printed in 7 to 10 working days. And finally, the last myth, it's thought that custom printing must just cost too much. ColorWorks prints are actually very reasonable. Wholesale prices range from $29.95 a yard for organic cotton sateen to $79.95 for 100% silk. Wallpaper is there for $34.95 per yard, and all for a 1 yard minimum, including the wallpaper. If you need design assistance with your order, Wendy can help you. Our design fee is $80 per hour, and your fee is always quoted before you are charged anything for helping. When asked what frustrates our customers the most regarding fabric orders, there were 5 pain points that are mentioned to us most frequently. At the top of the list are discontinued fabrics. While the supply chain has improved since the height of COVID, shipping delays and mill closures are still not back to normal. Patterns can move from active to discontinued actually overnight. With ColorWorks, our digital files are archived, so a pattern in our library will always be available to print. The second most listed frustration is long back orders. Most fabrics now are produced outside of the United States. Production time can be up to 12 weeks, and that's just to produce the fabric. Freight is the next thing. Freight by ocean is the most used shipping method, and it adds about 4 to 6 weeks to that 12 weeks in most cases. Air freight obviously is the quickest, and it only takes about 7 to 10 days to fly in a shipment of fabric. But at today's prices, that actually adds an additional $10 a yard to the final cost of the fabric. ColorWorks patterns are printed in the USA, and they're shipped very quickly. Customers also tell us that it's sometimes hard to find the right pattern for a project. With ColorWorks, a custom pattern can be designed for that project by Wendy, or a customer may upload their own desired pattern to be printed. Sometimes the correct pattern can be found, but it's just not printed on the right base fabric. With ColorWorks, you may print any pattern from our design archive or your own custom design on any of our 15 base fabrics or wallpaper ground. Now, finally, not being able to find a fabric with the desired colors needed for a project. Any of the patterns in our ColorWorks design library or a custom design can be recolored to match the color scheme needed for your job. So after all of that's been dispelled, what is ColorWorks really, and how does it work? Well, ColorWorks from RM COCO is a to-the-trade print-on-demand service that allows you to add colorful designs to an array of fabrics as well as a wallpaper substrate using direct digital printing. There are so many benefits to the ColorWorks program, and let me just list a few of the most important ones for you today. Quick print turnaround means no more waiting for back orders. ColorWorks allows you to print your perfect design and colorway for just a 1 yard minimum. We print your design at high resolution for unsurpassed detail and offer color palettes using over 2,600 color shades from which to choose the print that makes your design just perfect. Receive the print order in just 7 to 10 days after placing your final order. You can take complete control of your creativity with ColorWorks, whether it's recoloring or rescaling one of our patterns or creating a unique one-of-a-kind designs of your own. ColorWorks products are produced in our own print plant in the United States for quality that you can trust. And finally, no ColorWorks pattern or color will ever be discontinued. We guarantee that. Now, how do we work with ColorWorks? There are 4 easy options. Choose an existing ColorWorks pattern and colorway, and it is printed on a master base fabric. If you like it like that, order it. Just order it like you would any other print. You don't have to do anything further than that. You may also use an existing pattern and custom color or rescale the design to suit your needs. You can put any of our fabrics on any of our 15 base fabrics or the wallpaper. And you can become your own print designer by uploading a custom design to print on fabric or wallpaper. Still need help? We're always available to assist. ColorWorks prints may also have any of our textile finishing services applied to them after printing for an additional charge. Treatments range from green shield to add a performance finish, NFPA 701 for drapery, or NFPA 260 for upholstery, just to name a few. So now that I'm ready to color, how do I choose a color for my design? So the first thing you'll need is a color palette. Each of our base fabrics, as well as our wallpaper, have their own color palettes. Each contain over 2,600 colors from which to choose. Underneath each color box is a combination of letters and numbers. This is called the hex code. Our print machine uses the hex code in order to formulate each color used to print a pattern. The price for the palette is just the cost of 1 yard of which base fabric you choose, or wallpaper. So again, if you pick cotton sateen, that palette's going to cost you $29.95. If you pick silk, the color palette's going to be $79.95. So, and you can also print a palette for wallpaper. That's $34.95. Now, we suggest for any color, design, or base fabric change that you plan to make, that you order a 1 yard approval sample, as computer monitors vary greatly, and you can't be assured what you see on the screen is exactly what will print on fabric or wallpaper. You also cannot assume that a color printer will accurately depict what you will see on fabric or wallpaper. Custom fabric and wallpaper cannot be returned, so it's always best to obtain that approval sample before placing your final order. Now, each pattern or palette contains the same color assortment. However, it is strongly suggested that you select colors from a color palette printed on the ground you plan to use for your final order. Here is why that's so important. Each of these fabrics have been printed using the exact same colors, but each one is printed on a different base fabric. As you can see, even with the same color formulations, each ground takes color differently. The only way to really know how a color will print on the base fabric or wallpaper you plan to use is to select colors from a color palette printed on that ground. Now, you'll also want to order a base fabric deck. This deck includes all of the base fabrics for the ColorWorks program, as well as a sample of our wallpaper ground. And that's been included and is available for just $16.95 on our website. Want to print your own artwork? On our website, you can quickly do this with just 3 easy steps. You must, though, confirm you own the copyright or have written permission from the copyright holder to print your design. This is very important, as we cannot print any design where we are not the owner of the copyright or our customer does not own the copyright for that pattern. For more information about the ColorWorks program or to order memos, a base fabric deck, which also includes the wallpaper,
You accidentally muted yourself, Mark.
sorry about that. Don't know how that happened. So let me just kind of back up and see if I can remember where I was. So for more information on ColorWorks, you can order memos, base fabric deck. You can get a color palette. You just visit our website and click on the top of the page where it says custom printed fabric and wallpaper. An overview of the entire ColorWorks program, along with most frequently asked questions, can be found under this tab. If you select View All Patterns, you will see the most current ColorWorks design library. Click on a specific pattern, and you may order a memo from any of the colors available in that pattern. Just know that the memos that come are printed on the master fabric. If you would like to print a special base or a different color, you will need to order a 1-yard strike off of that selected ground. So now you have that 40,000-foot tour of the RM COCO's ColorWorks program. Starting next month, our ColorWorks webinar will not only examine the basics of the program as we have today, but Wendy will offer a detailed look at a very specific topic for each month. One month, she may talk about how to recolor an existing pattern or how to create and upload your own design another month. Now, let's open the floor for specific questions that maybe we haven't covered today and help you with any other questions you may have.
Thank you, Mark. Good presentation. We do have one question here. So the type of palette you can access is dictated by the base fabric you choose. You can ask that again. So the type of palette that the person's going to ask for is going to be dictated by the base fabric they choose.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Good. With ColorWorks, got another question here. With ColorWorks, can the print program accommodate special effects or finishes such as metallic inks or any kind of textured surfaces?
Currently, we do not have metallic inks available.
Will we have anything in the future where will be more texture that can be done on the digital prints?
In the future, we might have some texture options to be determined.
Okay. Question here from Joshua Smith. How long are palette printings good for, assuming they are not stored in direct sunlight?
Say that one more time.
how long are the pallet printings good for, assuming they are not stored in direct sunlight? So I think the question of that is just going to be similar to fabrics. The color fastness is going to hold
Yeah.
forever, as long as you said,
Yeah.
you're putting it outside, it should be
Yeah.
good for forever.
Yeah.
Good question. I have a question here from Jennifer. What is the width of these fabrics?
The fabrics each vary somewhat, but the printable width is 54 inches on all of them.
Okay. Another question, does ColorWorks digital print program offer any additional services such as design assistance and mock-ups?
We have design assistants at the $80 per hour design fee. For mock-ups, can you get a little more specific on what you're wanting?
I guess mock-ups referring to, they would have to get a strike off. So in relation to that, Wendy, I guess a question would be is, we're encouraging that they get a strike off. They pay the $80 per hour fee. Do they get a certain number of revisions when they pay for that first strike
Yeah,
off?
every quote comes with 2 edits included. Edits are small revisions, taking things out, adjusting things. It's not a complete do-over. That would be additional design fees. But if we're ever going to get into additional design fees, I would obviously quote again, and we wouldn't move forward without approval.
Okay. Here we have a question. How can we replicate a fabric pattern that's been discontinued from another manufacturer? First question. Second part is from the base slash foundation slash background color to the contrast color in, looks like, in the pattern. So first of all, I guess, how can they replicate a fabric pattern that's been discontinued from a fabric manufacturer?
We cannot.
We can't, yeah.
Due to copyright law, I can't replicate another, an existing pattern. However, I could create a new pattern with a similar feel to it. We can use the same colorway. The colors combinations are not copyrighted, so we can create something with a similar look and feel using that colorway. Usually just using the same colorway is going to give you the same feeling just by doing that. So
for example, if you have a tree of life, a traditional Jacobean tree of life from someone, if you find a Jacobean tree of life in our design library and we then replicate the colors from the discontinued pattern, in a lot of cases, that will get you close enough.
Yeah.
It'll have a similar enough feel because of the coloring and the design styling that you don't have to do a custom design.
Yeah.
And how would this apply to something like some basic, like plaids and stripes?
Same thing. If there's a plaid that you like that has certain colors in it, if I just recolor a plaid that we have with those colors, I mean, most of the times that's going to get you to where you need to be because most plaids are so similar anyway.
Okay. And so I think a lot of times people are speaking of discontinued fabrics from competitors. What about a discontinued fabric from RM COCO?
Just because it's an RM COCO fabric doesn't mean we own the copyright to it. So a lot of times you can speak to this. We just license from mills and whatnot for the rights to distribute. So copyright law still applies for most of those as well.
Yeah. So when you're looking at our collections within our industry, there's open stock fabrics, and they're open stock fabrics being that other companies carry the same fabric that we do. Then we have exclusive fabrics that we have distribution rights in North America. But even though they say they're exclusive, we are still, we still cannot copyright those. The only thing that we can manipulate and do are the COCO ColorWorks digital print items that we're offering.
Yeah. Everything within the ColorWorks library we own, and we can do whatever we want to it. So.
And we're constantly adding to that. We're going through some upgrades in printers and techniques right now. So we haven't introduced new patterns recently, but normally we will introduce 6 to 8 patterns every, couple of months. So what is there today won't be what is there, say, in 6 months. It'll just continue to add. We won't take anything away, but we'll continue to add different styles, different types of patterns for you to choose from.
And I will say that if there, and we do help a lot of customers. We do have a lot of customers coming to us because one of the number one pain points that Mark has mentioned is the discontinuation of patterns. That is an aged old issue that we have in our industry. And so we can take one of those patterns and actually can even be a plus, because then that gives you as a designer, decorator, an option to take something that your client liked. And in most instances, people would like to do something different, even though they love that pattern. If they had the choice to say, I'd like to maybe do something like this and tweak that and do this, you have that ability with ColorWorks to really bring something completely different to life. So that's something that we do a lot of with the ColorWorks program. The other benefit is, and I've been doing this 20 plus years, when we as salespeople come in and we romance the fabric and we show you a collection and we have the flats, there's so many times that a customer will say, I love that pattern. And we're showing it to you on a comb cotton sateen, but I wish you had it on a linen. Well, unfortunately, we don't. We have it on a comb cotton sateen. With this program, we do have 15 other base cloths that you can choose to take that print that you like and do something different with it. Another one is that, I love the design. I love the base cloth, but out of the 15 colors you have, you don't have the color that I want. And the answer to that would be, I'm so sorry. We have 15 colors and yours is not one of them. With this program, you have 2,600 other colors you can choose from to get that exact color that you're looking for. So those are some of the pluses to address the pain points that people face every day. Another question, I'll answer this one. Does the sample deck have a cost? Yes, it does. It's $16.95 for the sample deck. Roberta asked, I would like to wallpaper a ceiling in a bathroom with a print on a vinyl coated paper. Is that possible?
Right. Well, right now we just have the one substrate.
We have a coated ground paper. It's pre-pasted. It comes untrimmed, but it absolutely could be put into a ceiling. And one of the unique features of our wallpaper, most wallpaper is put up in the single, double, or triple rolls. Ours is produced just like our fabric. So it's by the yard. It's sold by the yard. It's not pre-packaged in single, double, triples. So if you tell us you need 50 yards of paper, it will be 50 yards of paper continuous. You can tell us, how many yards per run you want to go, but that is unique. You can get that exact to the yard measurement of wallpaper.
Mark, is there a benefit of not trimming the wallpaper?
The biggest benefit to untrimmed paper is in shipping. If you ding an edge and it's trimmed, you've dinged that wallpaper, and depending on how bad the ding is, you'll never really be able to get that out. Whereas if you have an untrimmed paper, the edge is what normally gets damaged in freight. So you trim that off and you've got pristine wallpaper to put on the wall.
Patricia asked, patterns in archive, do these include all of your traditional fabrics which may be discontinued? Mark, you want to answer that? I think we answered it, but you want to answer it?
Yeah, if it's not in the ColorWorks design library, even if it's a discontinued exclusive in our line, we don't own the copyright to those patterns.
Okay, great. Michael asked, and we'd already answered, but I'll go ahead. He wanted to know, with the wallpaper, does it come trimmed, or does the installer have to trim the paper for installation? We answered that. And from what I understand, a lot of professional wallpaper installers prefer to trim. Is that correct, Mark?
Yep. Because they can overmatch. There are several ways that gives them the ability to put up the paper and hang the paper the way they want to. And if it comes already trimmed, that limits that. Most of them that will trim, have to hand trim a paper, will bevel cut it. And that's an art into itself, but it allows for a beautiful seam when you have a bevel cut that matches up from side to side.
Thank you, Mark. Michael also wants to know, are there plans for different wallpaper materials like vinyl or grass cloth in the future?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Joshua asked, are copyrighted patterns that are altered for parody allowed? Examples, an image of the Chicago Bears logo with a red circle and strikeout, or with the bear given a confused and loopy expression. I think that's great. They are loopy over there in Chicago.
Um, it depends on what your final design is, especially if it's a logo design like an NFL logo or a Disney character. Those are very looked after copyright holders, and they take great care to come after anyone that violates that copyright image. So it would depend on what your final look is. The way copyright infringement is determined today is that the original and what is being viewed as a copyright infringed pattern are put side by side, and the layperson's asked if they're the same or if you can tell they came from the same thing. If they say yes, you've lost your copyright suit.
And
And
that,
they're very expensive, especially if it's Disney or
yeah,
NFL. Those are very expensive copyright lawsuits.
and that involves logo trademark stuff too. So that's a whole
Yeah,
nother can of worms.
it's best to stay away.
Okay. How about business logos?
For people wanting to print their own logos.
Yeah, our
Yeah,
designer working for somebody who has a business. Yeah,
yeah,
we
we
can do that.
totally can do that.
Okay. I mean, it's something as neat as if you have a client that just, let's say it's a grandmother or they're just infatuated with their grandchildren and they draw pictures for their grandparents. And if you want to have draperies made out of their drawings, that can be done as well. So all kinds
Do-
of neat creative
I've
things.
I've done it. I've done kid drawings for a grandparent. I've done uh an artist's own work where she put her logo along the side of her wallpaper and fabric designs to, mark it as her own because she's selling her own wallpaper and fabric. So um I can do just about anything.
Yeah. So if you're a designer and you want to have your own collection of fabrics,
Hmm.
you collaborate with Wendy with your designs and you can actually have your own
Yeah,
special collection of fabrics that you can distribute to other designers in the
yeah.
industry. We have people that do that.
We also
Aaron, go
print
ahead, Mark.
we also print solids. We print a lot of solids for
Oh yeah.
people. If you find the hex chip that you want to use from one of our palettes, we can print a solid to match. If you use one of our natural grounds, you can use that as a coordinating ground.
Hmm.
Yeah, you teed
You're
that up for me, Mark. Aaron had a
you
question. So go
you
ahead.
muted yourself again, Mark.
But yes, Mark teed it up for me. There was Aaron wanted to know if we want to match a solid fabric, do we just mail that swatch in? So is that something that we can do if they just mail in a solid fabric? Can we start to work with the Pantone color palette?
Well, it's not a Pantone color palette for one. It's our own color system. We only based the structure of it off the structure of a Pantone color palette, but it's a hex code palette. If they want us to color match, we can. We will charge for that at the $80 per hour fee. So if they just don't want to do it and they want us to do it, we can, but I highly encourage you to try and color match your own colors because you can see I'm in an office, not the best lighting, and the colors are always going to look different in my lighting versus your lighting. And it's always best to color match in the lighting or environment that the fabric is going to be in. So I would color match based off the palette in where you are, and it's cheaper too.
One of the other things, I'm sorry, we had a delivery at my front door. I apologize. One of the other things I was going to mention is with ColorWorks, you don't have to be limited to a repeat. Wendy does a lot of ombres where you can
Oh,
have a custom ombre for a window, so you can dictate, how far the spread of color goes. It can be made custom for any window that you want to do.
yeah, I do a lot of panel prints where it's a single panel image that can be printed at a specific size. So it does not have to be a repeat.
So here's two questions actually back to back, which is ironic. The first question is from Patricia. Did you develop this process yourself? I asked because I've seen similar types in the past. And then Jennifer asked, is RM COCO one of the only major textile distributors in the interior design field offering this type of program?
The only direct to the trade, right?
Yeah, so I can answer that. There was one other company that is no longer doing it, and they were very limited in the colors that they had. They had a very limited program. So currently, right now, we are the only one that I know of, unless something's happened just recently, the only fabric textile distributor that is offering this digitally printed program.
Mm-hmm.
I have a sentimental piece of artwork I own, and I own the copyright. Can I get that transferred to ColorWorks Fabric?
Yeah. Just scan it, digitize it somehow, and we can put it on fabric.
Fantastic question from Holly. Janice asked, how wide are the wallpaper rolls?
The wallpaper rolls are 44 inches, but the printable width is 27 inches.
Okay, I think that answered Mary's question as well. Michael wants to know, with more complicated patterns like florals that have lots of colors in them to recolor, say a few of the flowers in the pattern would be, that would be a case for using the design services at RM COCO. Let me read that again. With more complicated patterns like florals that have lots of colors in them to recolor, say a few of the flowers in the pattern. So they want to recolor a few of those in the pattern. Is that going to be using the service of $80 per hour?
All the patterns on the website you can recolor in the recolor tool.
Mm-hmm.
And the recolor tool is free to use with no design fee. If you would rather have me do it, I can recolor anything in the library. It's just a matter of preference. Now, if there are the channels that are set up in the recolor tool are locked in. So if there's something that you want hand colored and where you want the channels altered and you need me to go in and change a color that differently than the way it's set up in the recolor tool, that would be a case where I would have to go in and do it for you. Does that answer the question?
I think so. And what if they have a pattern that they like, but they want to either omit something in the pattern, or they want to, if they, so they may, yeah, so if they want to omit something, that would be also an $80 per hour service fee, correct?
Yes, any ColorWorks pattern or whatever I can modify.
If we design our own patterns, do they stay? Oh, good question. If we design our own patterns, do they stay uploaded to be reprinted whenever, or do we need to re-upload them each time? That's a great question, Michael.
No, when you upload a print ready pattern to be printed, it'll stay archived in your file.
And because it's a mathematical formula with the printing, it should be the same, correct?
It'll stay exactly how you printed it the last time.
Very nice. Good question. Is there a minimum yardage for the order? Yes, it's a 1 yard minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Clarification, wallpaper roll is 44, but printed field is only 27 inches. Why waste 23 inches? Or do you have an answer for that? You're on mute. Here you go.
Yeah, I do. We have some stock right now that came in with the for printing some murals that needed to be wider, and that is the ground we're using currently. It will change as we go forward, and you'll see probably more 30-inch wide papers trimmed to 27, but we wanted to keep with the standard because most patterns are set up in a 54-inch parameter, so that's why we kept the 27.
Okay, great. Any other questions? We have one more. Are designer creations printable, available on both wallpaper and drapery?
Yes.
Yes. Good question. Okay. I will see if anybody else pops up here real quick. We had a bunch of great questions. Thank you for participating. Again, we love an active audience. All right, I'm going to assume that is it. So the trivia question is a very difficult one. So I hope you've been paying attention. What is the name of our digital print program that we talked about today? First three that answer will get the color palette and the base deck. We have one, I believe I'm saying it's Wynn Park. And we have Janice and Joshua. So congratulations to Wynn, Janice, and Joshua. We will get that color palette out to you. Y'all are sharp. Y'all sign up for Jeopardy. And we do appreciate the opportunity to have you on here today. And just a reminder, we always like to let people know we are a full service distributor. So not only do we have this fantastic ColorWorks digital print program, but we have beautiful decorative fabrics, decorative hardware. We have a full service workroom that we can create draperies and bedspreads and pillows and cornices and shades and top treatments. So please keep us in mind for all those things. If you have any additional questions about this program or about anything else that we have, feel free to reach out to your local representative. If there happens to not be one in your area, feel free to email me. My email is Heath, Heath Watson at rmcoco.com. And again, thank you for your time today. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.